Good morning, people. Today is Friday, July 12th, 2024. Here we are at Department of Career Services. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. Today we're going to be talking about TGIF. So, yes, it's Friday, and it's about 6 o'clock in the morning here in southwestern Nevada. The temperature is, what is the temperature? I don't usually talk about this anymore. It used to be a big feature. It's 83 right now, and it's great temperature outside, great light. And good morning, what a bevy, TGIF, first Friday in Florida. Do you have a TGIF schedule? Or is every day the same as every other day? Happy to report that I received a 97 on my first paper in ministering at the margins. And I think it's because I had some stupid punctuation typo errors that the comments were very uplifting, positive, encouraging, but there was a couple stupid grammatical punctuation things that somebody would say, I can't give this 100 because these are just so dumb. Never proofread your paper on your own. Okay, well, anyway, so it's TGIF. Are we excited? Let's take a second. Ask ourselves the question, ask our brain the question, how do I feel knowing that it's Friday? How do I feel? Is it like, oh, good, finally the week is at an end? Okay, so the feel marshal is there. Now, we're taking bets. Is Maria going to have another excuse? Is she going to say, oh, I forgot. Oh, yeah, it's at 6 o'clock in the morning? It's every day? Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, so good morning. Welcome. Glad you're here. Good to see you last night. Matt, be here not really before 8. 8:15 would be ideal. I plan to leave here by 8:30. So if you're here at 8:15, we can open the door and get the stuff out. But everybody, glad you're here. TGIF, exclamation, question mark, exclamation point. What? Yep. So what else have we got in the news? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. In the news, advice from an 80-year-old. Choose your life's mate carefully. From this one decision will come 90% of your happiness or misery. Yeah, I can see that. So I had a great fortune of talking to somebody from Taiwan yesterday, a woman from Taiwan. Just talking about what are the customs of your country and what is it like being married to a white man, as they call them, European. No, not European, American. How did your family feel? Very interesting, uplifting, curious thing. Enabled me to engage my tendency to ask questions that I'm curious about. So good. It was very good. TGIF. What? Yeah. So choose your life's mate carefully. And I will say, in other cultures that are much older than our culture, and I'm not saying our American culture because that's a new culture. That's like less than 300 years old. I'm talking about European culture. Let's say the Romans going back to 753 BC, perhaps. Culture older than that. So their views on simple things. Not simple, their view on basic things. Say basic things. Other questions like when you sign your name, do you do it in Chinese, actually Taiwanese? Do you do it in English? How do they do it? Just interesting questions. Okay, so what are we doing here? This is our morning podcast with a very simple goal in mind, helping you get through this life and prepare for what comes next. Because it's fundamentally, everybody needs to decide for themselves, is this it? Is this it? Is this all there is? Or is there something after this? And my performance here, how I behave here, what I accomplish here, has an impact on what happens next. We have to all decide that for ourselves. To me, the evidence is in that it's more likely that we have a transcendent soul. And thus, this is not just randomness. We have a transcendent soul, and this is randomness. It doesn't matter. I think that what happens next is a function of what happens now. Next is a function of now. So, choosing to fight the good fight, run the good race, take this gift that we have been given, this gift of life, and reciprocate, return it, use it to the best of its ability, not squander it, is the path that this podcast is on. It's for the people who want to pursue that path. And it can be a curiosity for people who have the attitude of either we're just atoms in the void, this is it, let's focus on la vida loca, or people who think that, yes, we have a transcendent soul, but what we do here doesn't really matter. There's not really any benefit to be gained by putting your all into preparing for a better future. So that is the introduction. Why does it work? It works simply because, well, it actually works because of repetition, creating better habits, replacing habits with better habits. That's why it works. However, for the people who are actually interested, the worksheet has the information of experts. See, is that a rabbit? No. Hedgehog? What is that animal? What is that creature? That rodent-like creature. That's Watabebby posted. So the real stuff is in the worksheet, but the practical thing is showing up every day, making it part of your routine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be live. You know, for people on the East Coast, it's tough to take up time at 9 o'clock in the morning when things are getting started. People on the West Coast, oh man, that's early. That's just too early, man. Why don't you do it like at 8? Or I'll just watch it. Anyway, so replacing habits with better habits. Hamster. Okay, hamster. Okay, and how is the weather in Florida? The humidity here is about 4%. That's what it was, I think, yesterday. So very, very dry heat. Got to stay hydrated because you don't really sweat. So you go through life, you're just hot. There, you're hot and wet is my presumption. Is that how it is? Okay, so TGIF, what does that mean to you? We did an exercise in class last night. Risk, learned, felt. What's one thing, just very quickly, what is one thing you risked this past week? What did you learn from it, and how did you feel? Risk, learned, felt. Risked, learned, felt. What did you risk? What did you learn? What did you feel from that incident? Just a quick little thing. I think that fits into our daily routine. Could be part of our daily routine as the step 3, review yesterday. Did you risk anything yesterday? What did you learn from it? How did you feel? Cool. Good. All right. Great. TGIF. Good thing, bad thing. Well, how do I feel when I think about TGIF? I feel like, okay, tomorrow is G school. Can focus and talk about that. I also think in terms of, okay, a lot of stuff to get finished. The weekly goals, the goals that started on Monday, things I need to accomplish this week. Big things, some things can't be done in one day. Need to wrap it up today. So, yeah, got some big meetings, 9 o'clock, noon, 5, 3 big things for sure, and want to go from there. What? Okay, yeah. Let's see, we are 11 minutes in. Okay, let's see. Yes, drink. Yes, please drink pure water all day. Pure water. I prefer toilet water. What does that mean, pure water? Pure water, distilled water? Water with no minerals in it? What does that mean, pure water? What brand of water do you people drink in Florida on your boot camp basic training, life, Academy of Life? I mean that with sincerity. I think this is a good thing for you, Sophie. What is it? What kind of water do you drink? I'm going to be talking about Seth Godin, student coach. Big football colleges in the U.S. cost more than $5 billion a year, and none of these programs has a student acting as a coach. The same analysis at a much smaller scale applies to school theater directors and producers, conductors of the jazz band or orchestra, and even the coach of the chess team. We learn by doing, not by winning. What happens if we embrace this and make education about learning? What would happen if the head of the football program simply taught students how to be coaches? Or the head of the music program challenged kids to conduct? That's interesting. My most important learning experiences in organized schooling came from the random moments when I actually got to organize instead of being organized. Right, Seth Godin has a lot of ideas that are not mainstream, but appear on point, like on bullseye, regarding education. Why is our education system the way it is? And he's come up with a couple different educational paths. And let's see, what would happen if coaches taught students how to be coaches? Would they become better athletes? I think that's the point here. Is if you taught somebody how to be a coach, to be an effective coach, you have to get through to the team the things that are important in order to win, not just focus on winning. Focus on what does it take to win? What are all of the elements that need to come together to win? Certainly you have to, if it's a sport, you have to score points, but you also have to not let points get scored against you. Okay, and then there's the whole concept of bending the rules and cheating. When is that okay? Is it never okay? What if the other side thinks that the rules are you can cheat as long as you don't get caught? So like if it was in golf. Well, if the other guy's not going to keep track of my score, then I can put down whatever I want. It doesn't really matter. That was just a flub shot. I'm not going to count that because that's not my normal thing. Okay, so let's see if Wadabebi has anything to say. Let's call later, Matt. What does your daily life look like? Okay, Wadabebi, that's the brewing. We distill tap water. Yes, we drink distilled water. Wow. So you must have a distilling mechanism. You must have a distilling mechanism. And you can't just have the steam condense and think that it's pure. You have to filter out things because there are fumes in the steam. There's chemicals that boil off. Good on you, mate. That's great. Proud of you. I'd like to get information. Maybe send me a link for your distillery. See what that looks like. And pure water is good. I'm 100% for it. And my hunch is you have a pretty good distilling system. And your leader there, Edward, has figured it out. He's used his precision to find the best way to get distilled water, or the most effective way. So with that, we're going to say and cut TGIF, whatever that means to you. This is the last